and there's a lot of argument about that. But without getting into that, the defendant, in this case, How Medica or Stryker, needs to know before it can make a business decision as to how to resolve these cases. What is its business exposure? How many cases have been filed against it? So generally it takes a couple years for that determination to be made. Secondly, it often takes 2 to 3 years to prepare the case for trial. That is, for the lawyers who have been entrusted by the court to prepare the case for trial, to do the discovery, to obtain the necessary documents, and in these cases millions of documents are often produced, and depositions, they have to be reviewed, depositions then are taken, and then the lawyers who are both prosecuting and defending the case have to do expert discovery. So that takes quite a bit of time, generally years, anywhere between 2 and 4 years. And then doing the actual trials, the bellwether trials, which will establish values for different types of injuries that occur as a result of this, what we have alleged on behalf of our clients is a defective medical device. What the values are of those different types of injuries. Now, in the Stryker litigation, because there have been other cases that involve different types of hip metal-on-metal implants. One is the DePuy ASR hip litigation. That litigation had been ongoing from roughly 2010 until, and it's still ongoing, but for that 3-year period. But that has recently, there has been a settlement proposed by the defendant, and that settlement is under consideration. So because a lot of work has been done in the area of metal-on-metal hip implants, and that issue has been litigated somewhat extensively, not just with DePuy, but with other metal-on-metal devices. The period of time for this Stryker litigation, that may impact how long it takes. It may shorten it. So it's hard to tell at this point in time because we are right at the beginning of the process, the discovery process, and at the beginning of the MDL process for this particular device. Now, probably the last thing you ought to know about, if you retain counsel, how, and of course my firm and all other firms who represent an individual who has had a defective rejuvenate put into them, generally a plaintiff fact sheet has to be prepared. What that means is that your lawyer, or if you're representing yourself, but your lawyer will gather all of the medical records, and generally the court will require certain dates that a plaintiff fact sheet must be submitted for each individual who files a lawsuit. And that plaintiff fact sheet is normally fairly detailed, and it will set forth the person's medical history and all of the specific medical complications which have occurred with respect to the surgeries and or the initial index or original surgery implanting the rejuvenate hip and any subsequent revision surgery. And it will go into the medical background of the individual in terms of how that impacts the person's medical condition and what damages the person may or may not have experienced as a result of these surgeries. So generally that is what this litigation is about. That's how it's managed, it's roughly how long it takes, and those are many of the reasons why the litigation does take as long as it does. And if you have any questions, you can certainly feel free to give either my firm a call or my partner, Stu Talley.